Good morning, student. I myself, Dipanjan Pal. I basically teach for the competitive level exams like IBPS banking, SSCs, and along with that, I also make you prepare for the state level exams also, and for the PSCs, WBCS, and miscellaneous also. So today, in our first class, we will start learning one of the most important chapters is called single filler. Okay, now single filler is one of the most important topics we have ever seen in the many banking examinations, SBI PO, SBI Clerk, or it is very crucial chapters for the SSC, CGL, CHSL also. Okay, so let's start for the very first class of single filler. This is a quote of the day. You know that words are, of course, the most powerful drug used by mankind. It is said by one of the renowned writer, or you may say greatest writer, Rudyard Kipling. We all know him for his great creations, Mowgli. Okay, yes, this PPT and this class is for the target examinations. Like I have already told a couple of minutes ago that IBPS exams in the banking sectors, you can prepare for the SSC CGL also, and obviously along with that state level exams also. Okay, so let's start the class today. The general directions for the single fillers is that in each of the following questions, a sentence is given with one blank. Choose the most appropriate word from the options below that best completes the sentence grammatically and contextually. It means actually you are provided with 4 to 5 options, and among these options you need to choose one of the answers which you believe that will be the correct answer for these particular questions. Make sure that that particular answer should be grammatically correct and contextually correct for that particular question. Okay, okay, so now if we talk about the first questions, that is despite the professor's uh, demeanor, his lectures were surprisingly engaging and humorous. So you know what does it say, that despite the professor's demeanor. Okay, now demeanor actually we mean the part that is in Bengali we used to call it habhab. ঠিক আছে? Now despite the professor's demeanor, his lectures were surprisingly engaging and humorous. Now there are 5 options are given, just like affable, austere, whimsical, gregarious, and jovial. Now the thing is that when we are choosing the options among the vocabs, we need to know the meaning of the every words. Unless we will certainly not be able to answer the questions. Okay. The first was is affable. What does it mean by affable? It means actually you can say friendly. Okay, we can say friendly. I can say that you and I maintain an affable relationship for the last couple of years, so it called friendship. You can add on some of the other words also, that is called cordial. Okay, you can also say genial. So that are some other words for the word affable. If you talk about austere, now austere means actually, you know, that is means we can say strict. Okay, strict. We know him for his strict attitude or the demeanor. That means basically or একটা কড়া হাবভাব বা একটা ডিসিপ্লিন অ্যাটিটিউডের জন্য আমরা ওনাকে জানি। And also we can use this word that is called stern, stern. That is one of the good words, I must say, which you can use for austere. So all these are basically synonym for that particular word. Okay. Whimsical. Now it's a very good word. Whimsical, it means when you are not static in particular case. So আমরা এটাকে বলতে পারি whimsical means basically we say those who understand Bengali, that is called khamkhayali. Okay. Now you can say frequent, you can say frequent. Okay, it's a good word also. And you can say also dynamic. Dynamic, that is the word we use for whimsical. Next word is called gregarious. Gregarious, give a star. This was gregarious. Actually, the person who is very social, we call them gregarious. Okay, the social person is called gregarious. That means if I love to make something, if I love to make some social communications, or I love to engage with the peoples, so in that particular sense we actually use the word gregarious. So in a very nutshell, we can use the word social. In fact, we can also add on a word that is called outgoing. Okay, that is another synonyms of the word gregarious. What does it mean by jovial? You know, there is a very sweet informations that the words which starts with jo in most of the cases. If I talk about jovial, if I talk about jocund, if I talk about joyous, if I talk about joy, so every word which actually have a suffix or prefix of jo, so most of the cases it gives us a positive meaning actually. So this is a positive meaning, we can say joyous also. So with all these discussions for the particular questions, we can say basically options B will be the answer. Okay, so the despite the professor's austere demeanor, his lectures were surprisingly engaging and humorous. Moving to this next question. The question number 2 says, the engineer's explanation was so dash that even students unfamiliar with the technology could understand it. Okay. So again, there are 5 options are given. The first word is abstruse. Now, abstruse means basically you say, you know, the great Shashi Tharoor. So we often find to understand his words are very abstruse, means difficult to understand, right? So we can use the word difficult as a synonym of the word abstruse. And if we talk about lucid, now what does it mean by lucid? It means very simple. It means very simple, or you can say understandable, or you can say understandable. Okay. Now we often say that this generation in the modern period, we often love to read the books of Chetan Bhagat just because he has a tendency of writing with lucid words. So that is the reason we prefer his book so much compared to the others. So from this particular words lucid, and if we talk about options A, abstruse, so these are, we can say, antonym to each other. So you know students that anywhere uh, when you talk about English, we need to give stress or emphasize with the vocabs, because it gives us actually voice in terms of choosing the words, choosing the options. So unless you find the meaning of the word, certainly you just make a guess and you just give with the options that does not give you the certainty of whether you are correct or not. So it's better to understand or to know the meaning of the words first, then we will, I think, easily choose the questions for any things. Anyway, moving to the options number C, that is called cryptic, and fourth is arcane. You know that both the options are quite similar to each other, and we can say a word that is called mysterious as a synonym for these two options. Now, you say many times we say, you know, that the situations is very cryptic, so we can say very mysterious. Another word we can say puzzling. Okay, we can say the word puzzling. Okay, so these are the two synonyms for these two words. Opaque. Now, opaque, if you love to ride, sometimes you feel that in the winter sessions or in the winter morning, you say the visibility is quite opaque, or it's very difficult to ride just because the visibility is opaque and it's a hazy morning. So opaque is gives you the idea that it can be said it is very unclear. Okay, or it can be said it is an obscure. So basically the things which is not clear in a sense, we call it opaque. So in a very lucid way, we can use the word not clear. Okay, so the answer will obviously be, you can understand, none other than options B, that is called lucid. So the engineer's explanation was lucid, was so lucid that even students unfamiliar with the technology could understand it. Okay, moving to the third question. The committee's decision to reject the proposal was not based on evidence but on dash assumptions about the technology. So very good questions, in fact. Now, again, five options are given. You know that the options which are given in the questions, you see that these words have been used so many times in different kind of examinations. If you follow the PYQs for any kind of exams like SSC and bankings, you see you often come across with all these words in different kind of examinations. Now, coming back to the first word, that is called empirical. Now, you know, you must have heard the word that is called empire. Okay, the Mughal Empire. You know, now when we talk about the word empire, we actually talk about their kingdom. Okay, but when we talk about the word empirical, to some extent, we talk about, in that particular case, the experimental. Okay, experimental, that is the word we can use for the word empirical. The next word which we say pragmatic, that's an absolutely marvelous word. We can say realistic, we can say realistic, and we can say practical also. Practical. You see that if you know the name of the great writer Sharat Chandra Chattopadhyay, we often call him with the pseudonym Katha Shilpi. Sometimes we say the social pictures in his writing, and we say he is very pragmatic writer, or the tone of pragmatic sim is often found in the writings of Sharat Chandra Chattopadhyay. So that means it's quite realistic, it's quite practical. You can often relate with the things, with the events which is going on around the society, something like that. Option C, which is called spacious. Now, if you talk about spacious, the one word I can assist you, that is the word mislead. That is the word mislead. Okay, that is called spacious. Cogent, again, it's a word which derives the meaning of logical. You can say the meaning logical. That means actually cogent. Now, you can say, sir, we haven't found any cogent point in his verdict. So that means whenever he has spent or he has stated any kind of statement, so that was quite illogical, right? So in that particular case, cogent means a logical things. You can say also rational. Okay, rational. Now the last word, which is called incontrovertible, it means actually uh, incontrovertible means undeniable, which you cannot deny. Okay, so with along all these options, I believe now you can understand that what could be the answer for these questions. That the committee's decision to reject the proposal was based on evidence, but on specious assumptions about the technology. That is, that assumptions which can mislead. Okay, so obviously that will be our answer. I think it's clear to all of you for the first three questions, right? Okay, moving to the fourth number questions. The scientist remained dash about their experimental results. Okay, so refusing to make any conclusions until more data were collected. Now, credulous. Now you see that often uh, I say that I have built the credibility after working 10 years in this particular company. So credibility means basically trustworthy, বিশ্বাস যোগ্যতা যেটাকে আমরা বলি. So from that particular word we just change the parts of speech, and in this particular case we use it credulous. So in a very common nutshell we can use the word trusting also in the concept of trustworthy. Reliable also, that is the word which you can use, reliable. Okay, now skeptical. Skeptical means we know that in the modern era we have some common words to use in so many cases. That hypothetically means where I can say there is some I believe the doubt is there. So we say hypothetically I believe that this should have been done. So skeptical is a very important word where you can relate with the word called doubtful. Okay, that is the word we can use for this word skeptical, doubtful. You can also use the word dubious. That is a similar kind of word which we can relate for the word skeptical. Okay, now comes to the word dogmatic. You know, dogmatic is a very good word. If you ask me that how we remember this word, the tricks for the word dogmatic is, I believe everybody or majority have seen the picture Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. Okay, and when the actual character Amresh Puri was there, he was very opinionated and he was very stern in his opinion, no matter what is going to be happened in the surroundings and in the characters. So he is very stern in his opinion. So that particular person will be considered as a dogmatic person. So dogmatic person means he is very rigid, or you can say he is very opinionated. That is called actually dogmatic. Okay, now to some extent you can use the word orthodox also, but orthodox is actually a person who is rigid, who is rigid with his or her tradition. Means if somebody is quite adamant for maintaining the traditions, in that particular case we would love to call that person an orthodox person. Okay, gullible, this word is very easy. We generally reserve the word knave for the word gullible. Okay, and complacent, complacent means I am absolutely complacent what I have. That means self satisfied, self satisfied. Okay, so after analyzing all those words, we can clearly understand that the scientist remained skeptical in the meaning of doubtful or dubious about the experimental result, refusing to make any conclusions until more data were collected. So skeptical will be our answer for that particular questions. Okay, next, the CEO's speech was criticized as dash because it contained impressive but sounding words but offered no practical solutions. So you know that CEO speech was criticized. That means that was not, I mean, liked by so many. That is the reason that speech was being criticized by the others. Now, if you say substantive, now substantive means, suppose I say if I able to give you uh, some fruitful class, so you can say, sir, this class is very substantive. That means we can use, it is called meaningful. Okay, so we can call it meaningful, or we can call it okay sir, we believe this is a very significant class for the examinations. So in that particular case we actually talk about the way word substantive in the concept of meaningful or significant. Incisive, it's actually we use the scientist or the students with the science stream are very incisive with their brain, is very sharp in their brain. Okay. Bombastic, it means something large in the sense of some you can say grandiloquent. Okay, bombastic, it means actually grandiloquent, GRANDILIQUENT, grandiloquent. Okay. Means actually money, something big actually. Okay, and you can say that he's a very pompous. Okay, but suppose I'm feel very proud of whatever I have done, or something, for some achievement we say I have gone there, I have achieved these things, means I have very pompous in my attitude. And the attitude, the word we have found in the first question is called demeanor. So pompous grandiloquent means something big, মানে বাড়িয়ে চাড়িয়ে বলা, বড় বড় ব্যাপার একটা, but ultimately that impressive sound word offered no practical solutions. So we can say, by saying or by discussing the option C, that will be our prominent answer for these particular questions. If we say succinct, now I can say, could you please give me some succinct, I can say succinct descriptions for that particular topic. Means I'm just asking you to give me in some brief details. Okay. Pragmatic, this word we have found earlier, it is called practical, or we can say realistic. Students, you know, the easiest things to remember vocab is not to write down in the copies and not to mug up all those things. You have to fall in love with the words, the way you utter some new words. You need to practice a lot. You can use it with your friends, with your parents. Suppose if I say the word, I can say luscious, or if you say palatable. Now, you know, palatable means very tasty. Now you can say, wow, the hilsa taste very palatable today. Now the thing is that the way or the moment you start utilizing all those new words in the daily conversations with your friends, with your parents, it start remembering, or it starts installing within your brain. So I believe it's my suggestions to all the students that you please start doing that. I'm sure we will certainly imbibe all those words within a couple of months, and it will gives you a different joy in a different sense actually. Okay, so this will be the answer for the question number 5. Question number 6, the students dash approach to debugging allowed him to identify the source of the software error within minutes. Okay, so I believe this is the easiest questions from the 1 to 6. We can see and we can choose by observing the options that is methodical. Okay, so the options methodical. Now it's a very clear approach for choosing these questions, because the students methodical approach to debugging allowed him to identify the source of the software error within minutes. Now what does it mean by methodical? I can say the word systematic. I can say the word systematic. Okay, I can use the word orderly also. Orderly, that is also called methodical. Now the word erratic. Now in many cases we actually use unpredictable. This environment is quite erratic, that means quite unpredictable. Okay, capricious, you can use also the meaning of unpredictable in this case also. It's a quite similar word within each other, so we can use this as a synonym for both these words. Haphazard, now you can say that I am doing this, I am doing this in a haphazard manner. Okay, so when you say that I'm doing this in a haphazard manner, that means there is no particular discipline. Okay, so in this particular case you can say random. Okay, you can say random. Okay, random. And impulsive, this word, please give a star with this word, because these words has been widely used in common days. That is called I can say um, uh, spontaneous. Okay, spontaneous. Spontaneous, this is the word we can say for spontaneous. Okay, next question, question number 7. The professor's criticism, sorry, so the answer will be this will be the answer. I apologize, I just forget to mark the options, so methodical will be the answer. Question number 7. The professor's criticism was dash rather than hostile. She intended to help the student improve his research. Now this word hostile we can also use as enmity, or we can use enemy also, in the sense of this was hostile, where the relation is not cordial. You can use it as an antonym of the word cordial. Okay, so what will be the first meaning of the word constructive? Now constructive means basically you can say that is again quite helpful, or you can say structural, I must say. You can say helpful, or you can say structural. Structural. Okay, that is the portions we use for the word constructive. Okay, vitriolic, that is a negative word. Students, please do remember, vitriolic is a negative word. Okay, and it generally produces the meaning of bitter. Okay, caustic, again caustic means you can say sarcastic, and you can say scathing. Scathing also, scathing, 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 that is also the meaning of caustic. Acrimonious, these words, when you see the news or report for related to the murder, something like that, you find very regular way the word acrimonious, that is also connected with the word, I must say, hostile. So it is again use the word hostile, it is again produce the meaning of bitter. Okay, derisive, the last word derisive, it also talks about the meaning of mocking. Mocking, or sometimes which you dislike, so from that point of time you can use the word scornful. Okay, scornful. So what will be our answer? It's very easy now to choose. The professor's criticism was constructive, that means helpful or structural, rather than hostile. She intended to help the student improve his research. So her attitude or demeanor was very, very affable. The word which we have already found in the previous question. So this is the way, this is the pattern to utilize the words which we have already learned earlier, and we have to relate these particular words applications in a different questions while we are analyzing. Okay, clear, I believe. So that will be the answer for the very first question. Question number 8. Because the evidence was dash, the researchers were reluctant to claim their hypothesis had been proven. Here you see the word has repeated here, hypothesis. So we have discussed earlier that hypothesis means you can say apparently, right? Apparently. So because the evidence was conclusive, so that means you can say decisive, 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 or you in a very normal word we can use convincing. Okay, we can use convincing. Okay, so convincing, and if you talk about the word definite, so now you can say that means of conclusive. That is the meaning of conclusive. Okay, so now if we talk about equivocal means basically we can say that is called ambiguous, ambiguous, and obviously it means uncertain. It means uncertain. Okay, it means uncertain. Unequivocal means obviously you can say that is certain, or you can say sure. Okay, and infutable, that also means undeniable. That also means undeniable. So because the evidence was ambiguous or uncertain, so that will be the answer for the question. The researchers were reluctant to claim that their hypothesis had been proven. Okay, so coming to the next question, question number 9. The intern's dash attitude toward routine task impressed his supervisor. He never complained about repetitive work. The intern's dash attitude. So first, acidus. What does it mean by acidus? It means basically hardworking, hardworking, or I can say meticulous, meticulous, or diligent. Okay. Next word, perfunctory. That is means basically superficial, superficial. Indolent, it means lazy, or you can say the word you must use, that is called sluggish. SLUGGISH, sluggish. So from that point of view we can see options A with C, they are antonym to each other. They are antonym to each other. Apathetic. Apathetic means indifferent. Indifferent. Okay. Negligent. Negligent means actually careless. So what will be our answer? the intern's acidus attitude. So you can clearly understand. So intern's acidus or hardworking attitude toward routine tasks impressed his supervisor. He never complained about repetitive work. And the last questions for today, the professor's argument initially appeared convincing, but closer examination revealed several dash assumptions. So it's a very good question. Again, options number 8, tenable. Tenable means defensible, right? Defensible. Or you can say tenable means reasonable. Reasonable. Fallacious. Fallacious. It means flawed. Or you can say with error. Okay. Next, rigorous. Thorough. What we are saying that please do practice the vocab. Like if I say practice the vocabulary rigorously. Okay. Sound, you know very well. Sound, it's nothing but it sounds good. Means it's a valid. Again. And valid in a sense it is means logical. So the professor's argument initially appeared convincing, but closer examination revealed several fallacious assumptions. Fallacious. So options B will be the answer. So I believe that the questions from 1 to 10 have been totally cleared by all the students. I have tried my best to make you understandable for the questions which often asked in the different type of questions. The level you decide whether it was quite moderate, quite difficult or easy from your perspective. But this is very relevant part which I have made for you. So that's it for today. Thank you students, and keep practicing, keep learning. We will surely come back in a different date with a different topic. Till then, goodbye. And if you like my class, do subscribe the channel. That keeps me motivated. Okay.